This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to Shite Talk, a George Best Irish History football podcast.
Yeah.
You excited, Kevin?
I am excited.
Because you just spent the last 25 minutes talking shit about the game. Behind the paywall there, you can go listen to Kevin just badmouth the game that we all love.
I'm going with Pierce's, the St. Enda school's attitude to it. You don't need to...
Judging what we know about...
Well,
I wouldn't maybe...
Okay, but maybe the Old Republic, you don't need to dog on English to support Irish. You can have both hand in hand. And I believe that up until the point where I can't watch the loud games that I want because the fucking Arsenal game is on. That's all. That's where I draw the line. I think they should be equal, but the GA should be slightly more equal than football.
And do you know what? In Ireland, if they went with that, I'd be absolutely fine with it.
Yes.
If it's in Kilkenny and it's Gaelic football,
that's
like I was doing at the weekend,
it
doesn't come into it.
That's probably
I'm forcing an entire bar to watch the Arsenal game.
Yeah, and you can figure out what our opinions about that by listening behind the paywall. But this is about the beautiful game.
Yes.
Okay,
and a beautiful man.
A beautiful man, George Best. I've been doing a bit of just background stuff, so I know what you're talking about briefly. Mm-hmm. Very good footballer.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah.
Maybe the best.
I watched some of the highlights of his goals. They're all right.
Well, now.
I think the game just looks so different. Yeah.
And the pitches are terrible. It bobbles everywhere.
Yeah.
Lads are allowed to just kick each other.
Yes.
So the fact that it was like, when people say, oh, nowadays lads just go down easy, fouls didn't exist back then.
No.
So you're like, lad, 6'4", giant centre back is just allowed to studs you in the knee, and you just have to keep going.
It would, it's hard to kind of conceptualize. It just doesn't look as beautiful, maybe as
Also, because if you go and look at any of there's a great video of sort of the first times ever there was a camera stuck directly on one player for an entire game.
Oh yeah.
There's that of George Best, a couple of different angles, and God, it's bad.
Okay.
It's just like there's a lot of him stood still with his hands on his hips, and he's like, here's the ball, and he just kicks it and it bounces all over the place, but he's the best of them, but it's still just bouncing everywhere.
But a very talented player, and a very do you know offhand what there was a Portuguese nickname for him? Is like the fifth Beatle, but in the Quintuso Beatle? No,
because he was always called the fifth Beatle.
Okay, all right, yeah. But
that was in English as well.
Yeah.
You just read a Portuguese translation.
Yeah, I read all my news in Portuguese. Well, that's what I found, because we talked about it in the Shergar one, maybe that we grew up with a lot of icons, and people are like, they were the best to ever blank, the best person to ever do such and such. If you look at any media from outside of the country, they never get a mention, or barely get a mention, or a footnote, or whatever. That's not the case with Best.
No.
And he is very much European-wide, worldwide.
Because I'd say the reason you saw that in Portuguese was because Pele used to give Best his flowers and say he could be classic Jimi Hendrix thing of like, what's it like to be the best guitarist in the world?
Yeah, I don't know. Ask Pele.
Ask George Best.
Ask George
He's
Best.
the fifth Beatle.
Yeah.
But that Pele was like, no, Best is...
Yeah, award-winning across European titles, worldwide titles, top... Yeah, so this is a proper international star.
Yeah, I would say that when people talk about the greatest sports person to have ever come from this country,
yes,
I would say it has to be George Best.
And then the classic... Yeah, I don't know, well, if you want to give...
Or maybe, I'll say now, I'm not a golf fan, but everyone keeps saying it, and I have a lot of respect for Rory McIlroy.
Sure.
But he's not as much crack as George Best.
Which, yeah.
I will get into, I should say, this is going to be, so far, I believe, at least 4 episodes.
Uh-huh.
Some of them will be behind the paywall.
Yes.
The further we go on, I might throw some extra bonus content behind the paywall. Who wants to hear like an hour of me talking about what Callum Best, his son, was up to for his whole life? That's fun.
The old adage of the crack will kill you. He was an awful lot of crack.
Too much
crack.
Yeah, and then he did other things towards
Yes.
Anyone who's a drinking problem, I suppose.
Yes.
But sure, we'll get into... That's a sad way to start, but realistically, we probably should start in a sad way, because...
this is what the next couple of episodes, this is what we're in for. Very hugely successful sports star. Very sad personal life, but also a lot of fun.
But towards the end, early on, don't worry, if you... Maybe skip the 4th or 5th episode if you want to hear the bad stuff.
But the whole reason we're doing this now is because it would have been his 80th birthday this month.
On the 22nd of May.
Yes.
Very sad. He actually... Well, we'll get into that later on, but he passed away at 59.
Yeah.
Thanks to...
Because 80 is not that old. No.
And 59 is really not that old.
No.
Yeah. And well, if we go to the start, then you have to talk about the Munich air disaster of 1958, before George Best was even at Man United.
Yeah.
And so do you know anything about that? And I'm going to assume most people kind of do. I don't want to go into the whole history of...
Vaguely, that the one thing I always think about when it comes up is our history teacher. For Lebensjahr history, you have to do a project. And I remember our history teacher going to... He's like, you can pick anything. For the love of God, don't do the Munich air disaster. And he kept drilling that in because...
Why?
Everyone did it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess, when was I doing that? Maybe, the guts of 20 years ago, I guess. And that was closer to the time. I think the cut-off for the history stuff needs to be 30 years.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that was roundabout. It was the only event that was 30 years old that young kids in Dallasal cared about.
Yeah.
The time that... So a lot of... A golden year of Manchester, the team all died in a plane disaster.
Yeah, Matt Busby was their manager, which is odd because he used to play for Man City, won an FA Cup with them, and also played for Liverpool for years before the war made him stop. The war made him stop. But
I thought you meant the war between Manchester and Liverpool.
No, World War II would have put an end to a lot of lads' careers because it was 4 years towards the end of it.
Sure.
So, but then instantly he left Liverpool and went to go manage Man United. So it's very odd just to think that his only two playing teams were the two biggest rivals of Man United.
Sure.
That if that was now, he wouldn't be let near the team.
But he's a Merseyside man.
No, he's a Scottish man.
Oh. Also, is Merseyside the general term? For
Merseyside, Liverpool.
All right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
But so Matt Busby had led Manchester United to 2 consecutive league titles, and then in February of this season they were at 6 points off the league, I think. So they were in with a shout, but probably weren't going to win it that year. But still going very strong. Had gone over to the European quarterfinals of the European Cup. Went over to play Red Star Belgrade in Yugoslavia.
Yes.
They were winning 1-0 from the first game. They went over there. This is the quarterfinal of the European Cup. They got a 3-3 draw. They hop on the plane. Old planes back then can't get back in one go, so they stop off and refuel. They get to Munich. Snow starts falling. They have 2 attempts of takeoff. Doesn't work. This is an aircraft investigation, so there's no point in getting into... I don't know who's at fault. They said it's not the pilot. The Germans said it was. Everyone else cleared them. But basically, that they had 2 attempts that didn't work. They were like... snow was coming down. We could probably stop here now and just lay over in Munich for the night. And the pilot's like, it's grand. Sure, one more go. But then by that stage, too much snow had fallen. It had turned to slush at the end of the runway. Couldn't get any traction. It barrels through a fence. The left wing crashes into a house. The tail spins
Who
off.
was playing left wing?
No.
It's too soon.
It's too soon.
I'm sorry. I thought you had a tattoo of the Munich air disaster.
But the tail spins off, hits a barn, and inside that barn is a truck full of fuel. An actual fuel truck. The worst possible thing to be there.
Yeah.
And then the barn is kindling or whatever.
Okay.
Spreads all the way over to the plane. There's too many people pass.
A lot
away. It's very sad. It's a lot of the whole generation of players. It's a lot of some of the backroom staff, some journalists. It's rough.
Yeah.
And because of that, Man United, also no dispensation. They're back playing within a couple of weeks. That they just have to instantly go and loan players, bring everyone up from the youth team, and they just go at it. They win 1 game in the Premier League, in the English League for the rest of the season. But now they're in the semi-finals. Beat AC Milan at home with the new team, but then get smashed away.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just sad. But that 1 game at home,
that's a great moment for them. Yeah.
And it's also where you get the history of Busby's Babes, obviously United.
Yeah, Busby's Babes is a funny name for because that's the team.
Yeah, well, they were kids. Yeah. So it's they're all, and Manchester would be, and fair play to them, this is great that they just went local lads. We want lads who care about the club. We don't care about the best players from other teams. We can instill an identity of what Man United is. And to this day, it's still the exact same. Most teams are kind of like that, where they'd prefer a youth team player, even if they're not from the area anymore. If they've been bought from Argentina, America, wherever, still bring them through the academy and give them a chance.
Sure.
And they were great at that. And then post crash, they had to do it. Obviously, brought in some loan players as well. But then Matt Busby doesn't take over the team instantly. He goes off on a bit of a holiday. I don't want to say holiday. He has to come. Yeah, he survives.
He survives, but he's got a lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. He gets read the last rites twice. and then still survives.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Duncan Edwards, initially, he was one of the main players, and he'll come up a little bit, but he increasingly got worse. They were hoping he'd be okay, and he died a few weeks after. Well, there's a good chunk of them that happened as well. But
who do the Germans blame?
The Germans blamed the pilot, who used to be an English fighter pilot during the World War II. He's in the RAF. They were like, yeah.
To be fair, like late 50s Germany, they couldn't face
They
another.
couldn't have taken what?
Couldn't take another L on the European stage. That as people had just barely forgotten about the other thing.
But
it can't be like we've also killed Man United again.
But they said that over the next couple of years, they would have shielded the younger lads from the pressure and the expectation, because they're like, well, come on, lads, they're brand new, whatever. But bit by bit, there is obviously, it's still Man United, and they have won a lot very recently. A couple of years goes by. They do kind of want to get some more experienced lads in to maybe, not get relegated. I think like the year before George finally gets to play for them, that they finished the one place above relegation.
Okay.
So that at that stage, they're like, right, more of the Bobby Charltons and less of the young lads. So we'll get into that now, but just so remember the idea that Man United love the idea of a young lad coming through, especially because all of their greatest stars just died, including Liam Whelan. He was from Dublin. He was 22 at the time. He'd already played 4 times for Ireland in the past year, and had already won 2 titles with Man United by the age of 22. He would have been an absolute superstar. He already was, but we would remember him. But so let's jump into, just remember all of that. Very sad. We'll play some music. So, the 22nd of May, 1946, Richard Dickie Best, yes, his father's name was Dick Best, and Anne Withers had a wee young lad that went by the name of the greatest football man to ever grace the earth. Or for short, George.
Okay.
Yeah. George was the eldest sibling before the parents would conceive 4 daughters, Carol, Barbara, Julie and Grace, before adding a second son 20 years after George, a one Ian Busby Best.
Okay.
And here's a study I was reading about. Did you ever hear the Heritage Family Study?
Well, sorry, his middle name is Busby.
Yeah.
Is that after Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So the
Heritage Study.
Yeah, so the Heritage Study of 2026 was a 5-year-long look into the bodies and fitness levels of about 650 people who undertook a 20-week aerobic training exercise program to learn about cardiorespiratory fitness and cardiovascular disease at risk of diabetes.
Yeah.
And boiled down for layman's terms, they found out that, in conclusion, you get your fitness and energy levels and will, basically, from your mother's side. And then your dad's side provide the slower fast twitch muscles, bone density, height/limb length. And your ma's genes basically make up for 50% of your baseline VO2 max.
It's good that was in layman's terms.
Yeah.
I thought all that was hokum of that you get such from your dad and such from your mom and skips I thought that was
some of it is, some of it isn't, but they're they could trace it back and be like, right, well, yeah, in terms of cardiovascular ability and your CO2 max.
Right.
Yeah, or is it VO2 max? CO2 max, you'd be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because his mum was a former Irish hockey international.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and George got his sporting prowess, or at least in terms of energy and fitness levels, from her. And then from his father's side, he got a love of sectarianism, as Dickie was an orange man and raised the family as he'd been a free Presbyterian.
Yeah.
By the time...
hockey would be fairly... Yeah, Protestant as well.
Yeah. Now, because we'll get into the whole religious thing later on, George doesn't seem to care too much about it. It's like he would go on marches for the Orange Order.
Yeah.
But we'd all go on marches for St. Patrick's Day and whatever. It's probably just the exact same thing. He was a child.
Yeah.
Culturally, we're going to have Jordan Robinson from the North come on and chat to us about it, and so he can explain more. Jordan, a notorious Protestant.
He'll tell us why. I have friends from Belfast who, as kids, it's like Scouts or it's a cultural thing. It is like St. Patrick's Day in certain spots. There's obviously, if you scratch beneath the surface, an awful lot more hatred and sectarianism behind it than you know what, you can go listen to the 8-part series we did about this years ago.
The Battle of the Boyne.
Yeah, but like a lot of people don't look at what it doesn't really matter what it's for. It is just a day out It's a family event.
Yeah, but by the time George was 10 months, also in terms of sport, his dad did play amateur football until George was like 10. So he was also a sports star.
Okay.
He worked in I was going to say an iron shop, but he's an iron turner.
Sports star is a bit of a high turn because isn't his mom like
represented
the country but in hockey. And you're like, his dad kicked about at the weekends as well. Both equal athletes
in Belfast.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, in a good. Yeah, also his amateur football. I don't know what level he got to, but he had
five-a-side.
But he played football as well.
Yeah,
so
they were both equal sports stars.
But it wasn't a particularly affluent area to grow up in. And
yeah, okay.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had a TV, but neighbours would have. So even that was you're one level up above some of the Catholics.
How did they know what was happening in neighbours without a TV? How did they
get all the jokes out of the way in these episodes?
It's going to get sadder as it goes on.
Yeah, but his granddad brought him to see Glentoran when he was really young, so that sparked the interest in him. He became infatuated with the football and Glentoran in general, making scrapbooks about the team's results, taking photos and scorelines and stuff out of the newspapers, which he'd go on to do about himself in younger days as well. But reports were that he was blessed when it came to academics.
Okay.
And that's also rivaled by the stories that he was constantly mitching school to go play football.
All right.
Yeah. So they'd say that he'd trick the teachers into letting him go home by saying he was sick because he'd suck on hot sweets that'd just leave his throat red raw. And then he'd just leave and go play football on his own.
Okay.
Yeah. So they say he's a talented student because of the fact that he got his 11 plus exams. I guess that's like your O levels or A levels or whatever. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, how smart is that? It's like, English people always talk about that. It's like, oh, I've got 4 A levels. So it's like, what was the score in them?
Yeah.
Do you not is that just a pass? Or is it like, do you say honours? I've never really understood it.
No.
But to be fair to George, he's, I believe, the only student, or definitely male student, to have got them. So he was given basically a scholarship to go to a rugby-centric grammar school called Grosvenor.
Oh, sorry, but the only one from his school.
Yeah, from his class that year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he was smart, even though he was a soft midget.
Yeah, I'm sure it's different back then. Well, yeah, that was pretty smart then. Yeah. I'm sure it's different that it is now, but I think because, we do, for the leaving 8 subjects?
Yeah.
You pick your best 6. I'm sure it's different now anyway, but the English system is like, you do 3, I think.
Yeah.
It's not who cares, you know?
But he'd said he had a pathological dislike for Grosvenor.
Right.
This rugby-centric school. And when he was finally caught mitching there too many times. Also, for any American listeners or English, mitching means truant, like not going to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably just an Irish term. But they found him mitching too many times and they gave him an ultimatum. Either leave the school or you could just drop down to a lower form. And he was like, fuck it then, I'll go down to a lower form.
Right.
And he goes down for a day and by lunchtime he's mitching again. They're like, would you not just, why? And he said that he viewed the other students, he said they viewed themselves as superior beings.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Now, while he'd be Protestant or Presbyterian, he wouldn't be rich.
He's not rich.
Yeah. So he chose to, also he's getting 2 buses a day to go to this school.
Right.
Doesn't have any mates there. So he goes back to Lishnahara with his mates from back home. He'd stay in class there. He liked it. He'd be playing football morning, lunchtime and night. They'd said you'd often see him walking to school and back doing keepy-uppies with a tennis ball. So he said the first question they asked him when he got to that school was, can you play football? George knew he was at home.
Yes, all right.
So they couldn't find him without a football, apart from when you'd see him in the pool hall. But I'd never heard any stories of him doing keepy-uppies with a pool ball.
The pool ball. Yeah.
So at a younger age, he would have supported, in the English League, he would have supported Wolverhampton Wanderers under the great Stan Cullis, who had won back-to-back leagues in 57 through to 59, 3 league titles in 6 years, came second twice in those years, and an FA Cup in 59 and 60. So just they were huge at the time. Peter Broadbent was a star man. So just we all know, Wolves have a giant connection to George, and he would have supported them in later life as well.
Right.
He grew up with them. He liked them and United.
Okay.
But Wolves had a game in Hungary that was televised by the BBC before the European Cup ever existed. So that was...
You okay?
Yeah, that was box office. It was huge. But yeah, and again, the best family, no TV, so you would have watched that at a neighbour's house. Glentoran, again, not religious, don't want to get into that whole thing, but they would be a Protestant team.
Right.
You'd have like Cliftonville would be like the Catholic team. Linfield would be an uber Protestant team.
Yes.
They didn't have Catholic players until like the late 80s. Whereas Glentoran were like in the 60s. We're like, okay, well, come on.
Okay.
But yeah, again, I don't want to, we'll get into it in later episodes about religion, what it means to be Irish and the definition of that. And trivial things like north and south, borders, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But George only cared about one religion.
Football.
The things that gather masses of men to worship at an altar of green every Saturday. Saintly statues replaced by stanchions. Dismissals for red cards. Prayer books for the books of the ref. Celebrants for celebrations. Crosses for other forms of crosses.
Yeah.
The one and only true religion. Day drinking and yelling abuse at millionaires.
The beautiful game.
The beautiful game. His early football in life would have begun with Crega Boys Youth Club. They'd added soccer to their list of activities, and George was the first to show up. The manager was Hugh Bud McFarlane, who was the reserve manager for Glentoran.
Right.
He took an interest in George because of his natural ability, and George listened to him because he was the manager of a reserve team for the team he liked. The story goes, it was like he'd maybe listened a bit too much. Bud had told him, I'll work on your weaker foot. So the next week he showed up to the game, left foot, because he's right footed.
Yeah.
He said, left foot, wears a football boot. Right foot, plimsoll. So he has no option to use it.
That's smart.
Still scores 12 goals off his left foot.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's also, you could put a boot there and just not use it.
Yeah, but he needs to remove the option.
Yeah, but okay, yeah, fair enough. But
Yeah.
I also like just don't use it. Or
Yeah.
use it a little bit and try to always. Anyway, it's a class story.
It's yeah. But I mean, how many problems in your life or anyone's life could be solved by willpower?
That's fair.
Or alternatively, you could just buy some device that stops you doing the thing. Yeah, I mean,
That's very fair.
huge industries are built on that.
But yeah, he was prolific. He'd play above his age group, multiple games a day if he could. But despite his ability, Bud kept trying to get him trials at Irish League clubs to no avail because scouts said he was too small. Even for
Too
Bud,
short.
Yeah, small, frail. He's very skinny.
Okay.
So he's about 14 around this time.
Yeah.
I assume, because he goes to United just before 15. Around this time, he's 5'3", 7 stone and 7 pounds.
Right.
Yeah, so he's very small compared to all the other lads. Now, Man United scout Bob Bishop, who he worked in Northern Ireland for scouts for a load of teams, but his main affiliation was Man United. He was in charge of the Boylan Youth Club soccer team.
Right.
And so that's where usually anyone would go over to Manchester United or England, even from there, from Belfast, because that's where the best players went to. But Bud convinced Bishop to let George take part in one of his training camps in St. Helens Bay, County Down, called the Manse. He impressed so much that despite reservations, Bishop said, "Feck it, I'll go against my gut and I'll send him in for Northern Irish trials." And George doesn't get picked because he's too small.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bud saw that no one was taking a chance on him.
But
despite
this
his
is
ability.
Moneyball stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's really good technically. He was like, well, he's beaten all the records, but he looks very frail.
Yeah,
so I'm going to ignore the data.
I'm going to forget the teenagers grow.
Yeah, he's 14. Yeah. Okay.
And he's still 5'3". He's not like he's 4 foot. He's
Yeah.
There's
5'3" is...
lads playing professional football now that are 5'3".
Sure.
Yeah. Bud was worried at this stage because he was nearly 15 and he's not going to fulfill his potential if he doesn't get proper training. And so he has a brainwave. He sets his team up against Bishop's Boylan's club. And he puts George on his under 16 team, even though he's still only 14. And they put him up against the Boylan's under 18 team.
Okay.
So he's going up against lads 3-4 years older than him.
Yeah.
Just as a way to prove. So he's like, right, if he's too small, then why is he going out there and scoring 2 goals as we beat your lads 4-2?
Yeah.
And then Bishop, he's like, that's a very fair point. And
he's wearing plimsolls on one of the feet. I mean, can't argue with results.
But he sends off a telegram to Matt Busby with the line, "I think I've found you a genius."
Yes.
That's all it says.
Yeah.
So he gets...
He's like, who? What?
What?
I've seen that reported in a few different bits. It's like, I'm sure there's a follow-up. Like, Busby's a busy man, you know?
Yeah, but this means that he gets a 2-week trial at Manchester United.
Wow. At 14.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So he's probably 15 by the time he gets over there. One of the centre-backs from the opposition team in that Boylan's game, Eric McMordy, he goes over with him, so he's a little bit older. He said he'd never seen such bruises that George had after that game, though. He's like, he's like, we were kicking the absolute shit out.
Sure. Well, is he a physical player in general?
No.
He's more finesse.
Finesse, but then as we get through it, he does develop more and more. They say he's very competitive. But he wouldn't be the strongest, so he's very aggressive and he wants the ball and he wants to tackle, but he's not that strong.
Okay.
But he is pretty fit, so he can run all day because of his mother.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. He'd be a shy, introverted boy, and he'd be sent over to Manchester. He doesn't know this Eric lad.
Yeah.
Doesn't know anyone. They get off in Liverpool, from the boat, expecting, mad thing, maybe unaccompanied 14-year-olds should have someone waiting for them to bring them to the training.
Yeah.
They haven't organised that.
Of course not.
So they have to hop in a taxi. They say to the taxi man, can you bring us to Manchester? Bring us to Old Trafford? Taxi man's like, yeah, class. Which one? Because the famous cricket pitch in Manchester is also called Old Trafford.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that is needlessly confusing.
Brings him to the wrong one. I would have said the football one.
Yeah, but he probably doesn't know.
But they're very shy, and they don't. And his Belfast accents, I think they're very worried about the fact that people won't understand them.
Sure.
/ it's the 60s.
Yeah.
Lots gone on.
Sure.
The taxi driver has them late. Basically, they get there. I think pretty much they missed the first day of training. George
it also cost a fortune.
Yes,
yeah, taxi,
or maybe taxis were cheaper back then.
No matter how cheap it is, if you're driving from Liverpool to 2 locations in Manchester, that's not going to be. Yeah,
George, very shy, wouldn't have much confidence. He didn't even have the confidence to tell them when they made him sit. They sat him down and made him have his breakfast. He was like, "I've already eaten."
Yeah,
so he had to eat a full English breakfast.
Yeah,
after already having his breakfast. So
like, where's the soda bread? I'm truly a stranger in a strange land.
I don't know, potato farrell. They stayed in digs at the house of Mrs. Fullaway. I remember her name. Her son brought them for a walk around the area, but the 2 lads were so shy that they barely said anything.
Yeah,
and they didn't want people hearing their accents and that. So they went back.
What year in the 60s is this?
This would be 61.
61? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So they go back to the house that night. And they kind of talk to each other and confess that it's a bit overwhelming for the 2 of them. And they decide the next day they're going to go in and say they want to go home.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't even had training that day.
Yeah.
They just go back. They're like, this is an awful lot. It's a whole new country. We're 14. We've barely left our estates.
Yeah.
And now we're over here being like treated like men to go play football.
Yes. And I go 100%. Yeah, I get it. That is, it's kind of adorable from where where George Best is going from. It's funny to like have a culture shock going between Belfast and like Manchester.
And Manchester, yeah.
Like you couldn't, like, that's the same.
But
I mean, there's been an awful lot of wars fought about that and like hundreds of years of whatever, but you couldn't get much closer if you tried.
They have a Greg's, you have a Greg's.
Yeah.
Much of a muchness. But
it's the same time zone.
But they go back and tell the chief scout, Joe Armstrong. Now, Joe Armstrong will be famous. He'll probably come up again. But him alongside Welshman Jimmy Murphy would have been 2 of the main scouts around United and done a lot of the underage systems. They would have found lads like Bobby Charlton, Duncan Edwards and such. Armstrong... he'd be used enough to seeing homesickness and younger lads coming in, early trialists.
Yeah.
So he's like, I know exactly what to do. We'll get Harry Gregg, the goalkeeper, was the guy who was pulling people out of the crash at the during the Munich air disaster. He's a big man.
Yeah.
And he's just lifting lads out. So they bring him and he's famous and well known. They're like, this will be, you like this. And also 17-year-old Northern Irish international who's in the first team at Man United, Jimmy Nicholson. They bring them down to chat.
Right.
2 lads are awestruck by Jimmy Nicholson. That's one of their star heroes. And also Harry Gregg is massive and very intimidating.
And probably riddled with PTSD.
Yeah. They're completely starstruck. And this just exacerbates the problem. And then they double down and like, get out here now. It's not helping at all. What are you doing? So they go home. I don't know if they've even told their parents because it's straight away.
Yeah.
So George has to go back and run into his dad in the morning time and be like, oh no, we're back. It's not great.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like this is all, and their parents would have been, especially George's parents, they'd said, yeah, the mother cried that night. They weren't sure about sending them over. It is very young, but also there's not a whole lot going on here. We're not very rich. You have a chance to make it. And football's not like, you're not incredibly well paid at the time. But it's a much better living than just...
Yeah,
because he was not working at printers otherwise. They're like, yeah, go on, do this. But
so he went over and then came back.
Instantly came back.
Right.
And then the dad then goes off to work, goes and makes a phone call, calls up Joe Armstrong, says, what the fuck happened there? And Armstrong goes, this happens all the time with young lads because they're children.
Yeah.
And they're homesick. So, like, look, it's open for him. Whenever he wants to come back, the 2-week trial, that's still there. So then the Best's dad, Dickie, doesn't say a word about it to Best.
Right.
Until he brings it up. Because he wants him to get more confidence out of him, showing him to be a man. And I think George must have known he called him. Maybe the man said. Not sure. But he does bring it up to him. And he's like, what did they say? And he said, oh, they're very disappointed in you. Oh, God. You've ruined it. You've thrown away your only chance.
You fucked it, George.
Yeah, he said.
You know, Dickie, it happens all the time, mate. It's there for whoever he wants it. Whenever he's ready, we're ready. Send him over and we'll give him another chance. Oh, George, you... boy, you fucked it now, boy. Not just for me, but for your ma.
And your sisters.
And your sisters. The whole fucking
The
family.
community.
The whole community let down. As you're too much of a fucking coward, George. You fucking...
And then he probably cries for a while. He said it said that he lets him sit in pain, just wallow in it for a bit, and then he's like, "Now this will be the way to get him." He goes
Masterclass in parenting from Dickie here.
He then tells him, he's like, no, only messing.
Only slagging, lad.
He said, they said you're welcome back, but not until Christmas.
Okay.
Which wasn't true. He was welcome back straight away.
Right.
And they're like, no. It has to be, you have to wait now a good few months. It has to be Christmas time. And also, Matt Busby, he was there and he'd heard about how great a player you were. And he said you had a brilliant future. And that wasn't true.
Yeah.
So now he just lied to him 2 other things. But he said that this, in his mind, was like, now he is the bit between his teeth because he thinks Busby thinks he's going to be class. And now he's told you can go back.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be for ages. So he's like, feck that. I'm going now. I'm going to do whatever. And he's like, yeah, you're allowed to go.
You know what? Dickie's... this is good stuff.
It did get
you
him
can see
to
where
go.
the young boy got his smarts from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Instead of just telling him, like, yeah, all right, this happens all the time. It's here for you whenever you need it. Tell him it's gone.
Yeah.
Then tell him it is happening, but not for ages. And the big man likes what he sees in you and put a completely made up fire in his belly.
Yeah.
Fair play to Dickie.
And it worked.
It did work.
So George says he's going back to Manchester as soon as possible. He hops at it. Well, a couple of weeks go by. So I guess he's playing like under 15 football. And so they win for his local team, for like Craiga. So they're playing in a cup and a league. So they win that. George's in the paper, in the Belfast Telegraph because of that.
Nice.
Because he's like, oh yeah, star player. And then word gets out that he's going to go on trial to Man United. So he's in the paper again. But now there's more expectation on him again.
Yeah.
It's not like the first time where it's like, oh, no one even knows it's
Some
happening.
guy, yeah.
Now you're the next big hot thing. You've captained your team to a league and cup double, and you're going over on trials to United. You're in the paper twice, and everyone knows about you. But it seems to go okay. He goes into digs. Everyone says he's very shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Which he keeps up for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's what all of his family say, even in later life, which could be part of like the drinking.
Okay.
It maybe initially anyway. But George was, he's more at the back of the group kind of fella. They go and spend their time playing pitch and putt, snooker, and all of that, but just to pass the days because they didn't have much to do. They weren't up to anything else. And they'd said even when they were doing that, he's never really that chatty. He's just he's very small compared to all the other lads on the team.
Yeah.
He's very diminutive, and also
He's 15.
He's 50. And he's from Belfast. A lot of the lads are English. They're from Liverpool, from Manchester. So they'd be training maybe twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week, and then do another snooker or whatever else to pass the days. They were meant to be working.
Sure.
At the time, England had a law that said that lads from Northern Ireland couldn't go over and get apprenticeships.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would be based on like construction and that to make sure that the jobs went locally to young lads there, but that carried over into football. So he just had to be an amateur. Any of the lads like that at the time had to just be amateurs. So
that is disgusting.
Yeah. It's like you go over away from your parents at 15, they make you get a job and then play football a little bit on the off chance that you make it later on.
Yeah, that's the sectarian violence is starting to like really boil up at this point, and just while forcing them to be British and then also being like, well, you can't get a job here. We need that for local boys. But also, we'll never let you go. You're part of the union, but, stay over there.
Yeah. Which is, but now thankfully, United found a nice little workaround for this.
A nice loophole.
Yeah, he went to Armstrong and was like, they're making me work. Because he's on not a cruise ship, a canal ship. So he's on a canal ship working there.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly what it is that he's doing, but he says it's too labour intensive and that it's impacting his football. What they do is they find him some company to just let him clock in, go off, play football all day, come back in time to clock out. That's grand.
The GAA system.
Literally.
Yeah.
And then so he's playing on the youth team in Man United. We'll go through the levels. So there's the B team, there's the A team, there's the reserve team,
okay,
and then there's the senior team.
Right.
So George initially goes into the underage B team.
Right.
So Harry, he's playing there, but obviously you go up and down when it's pretty malleable. You can drop up and down between the A's and B's depending on how you're doing, and then you can also go up to the reserves And also the senior team, if you want to just like fly up to there, depends how well you're doing. So I'm not sure exactly which team he's on by this stage, but Harry Gregg, the goalkeeper.
Yes.
He's playing with some of the youth team players that often have the senior team play against the best of the younger lads, but they're doing some training. And one of them was a young lad, threw on goal, Craig said. And he said he tried to sell him a dummy as a goalkeeper dummy. Before the lad got to dummy him, he'd go one way, expecting the lad to go the other way, and then he'd jump over there, and he'd always get them. And he tried to do that to this young lad. He didn't fall for the dummy. Just walked right around him, tapped it in the back of the net. Comes through a couple of minutes later, does the exact same thing. Comes through a couple of minutes later, does the exact same thing. Harry Craig gets up, he walks over, sees this talented young footballer and says, "Do that again, I'll break your fucking neck."
I pulled my fucking compatriots out of a burning wreckage.
Yeah.
I will kill you.
You could just shoot
This is
past
my team.
Also, you could just shoot past him.
Yeah.
You could just shoot past him. And
But
he's like,
what's the dummy in that
yeah, he just runs past him constantly. He's like, breaks the line one-on-one with the goalie. Instead of shooting, I'm just going to run past him, sit this lad in his arse, have everyone laughing at him. He's like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Greg doesn't like that. But when Matt Busby asked Greg about the younger lads coming through, he noted best as like, well, that lad's very special.
Yeah.
But then Busby said, he's too small. And so, yeah, he's doing it to like an England international.
Yeah. He keeps beating me. Who is it? The 5 foot. Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah. I guess he's done growing.
He's done growing, I guess, at 15. Yeah. It's a shame. He keeps beating all these records and proving he's a great footballer, but he is too small.
There's only one place for him. Canal boats.
Yep.
But George wasn't aware at this time that people were still thinking like this, because I think no one told him that it was a lie that Busby.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, like, obviously he went over before Christmas time, like his dad had told him you have to wait to, but no one ever
still
told
thinks
him.
Mr. Buzz, yeah.
Yeah, but everyone is pretty, like, high on him. They think he's very good.
Yeah.
And he's performing so well that despite the lack of size, like, and he makes up for that in terms of, fitness level, competitive spirit, and his confidence at that stage is growing on the field.
Yeah.
And he's becoming more of a personality on the field, backs himself more and more, and getting a bit more confident off the field. Now, having said that, he still wouldn't be a talker.
Right.
He's probably just not as nervous or anxious about things. There's one story that they go to a disco or club, I think it's called the Tinted Wheel, but they go and they say that George came in for a couple of minutes, says nothing, not having a great time, kind of lose track of him for a while, comes up he's only probably there less than an hour, maybe half an hour. He goes up, says, "Lads, I'm off." And they're like, he's classic George, no crack, doesn't know what to do. And then he leaves with the prettiest girl in the pub. And they'd said, I don't think he even said 2 words to her.
Yeah.
They're like, he doesn't talk to anyone. They're just like, he's gorgeous.
He's a handsome man.
Yeah. Very boyish at this young age.
He's a boy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He had his youthful look about him when he was 15.
Not like these grizzled 17-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you kind of expect the story now to be all rise because he's doing well. But honestly, it goes up and down a lot. A lot of people doubted his chances of making it at the top level, especially even though he was very skillful. He bounced up and down between the B team and the A team before really finding his feet. Because he can go up and score, like, in the B team, he could go score 4 or 5 goals. But then in the A team, he might get 1, could get 2, could 2 games not do a whole lot.
Yeah.
He'd be just bouncing up and down. But it's important to remember that at this age, for like the B and the A team, for the kids, that's all just about skill development and talent.
Right.
And then when you get to the reserve level, there's older men there. And that could be anyone from 17 to like 37.
Yeah.
So that's just seeing about, can you take a kick? And like, what do you like when a lad your dad's age grabs your neck? So there was a lot of lads who also didn't think he'd make it, because that's grand. You're beating all these lads at this low level.
Yeah.
But once you get to the senior team, you're not going to be able to dribble past 4 lads and smack it in from 20 yards.
Impossible.
George.
Yeah.
You see about that.
Yeah.
So Matt Busby is like, we need to coach this lad just to pass the ball. And then Jimmy Murphy jumps in and goes, "You're going to ruin him. Like, let him no one else can do this. Just let him do it. Whatever he's doing it right."
So they're like, don't try and...
Don't coach
Don't teach him how to pass the ball.
He's magic. All of that stuff can be figured out afterwards. Natural ability and talent. Let him just focus on this.
Fair enough.
The rest we can get to him afterwards. But if he's able to do this, let's not make him a robot.
He'll either be a star or we'll kill him at 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
They won't care about him. That's absolutely fine. We'll move on to the next.
Fair enough.
Murphy's son had even said that he was like, there's 2 players that he said his dad never coached. They said he never coached. Duncan Edwards, because he already knew everything. and George Best because it would have ruined the magic.
Sometimes the best part of coaching is knowing when not to coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it worked.
Yep.
But even because they did say this about, he's like, George wouldn't have necessarily had that much respect for Jimmy.
Right.
Or he would have, of course, to an extent, but he was always wondering. He was like, everyone says he's a great coach. Everyone's saying this Jimmy lad's a great coach. He's constantly giving other lads lessons. He doesn't even talk to me. And he can't understand that. He's like, no, he's letting you just do it your own way, George. So that would have been, they said the only lad who ever really talked bad about Jimmy Murphy was George Best. But then the youth team are playing a match against the senior team. And Busby and all the main staff are down in attendance. George drops deep to receive the ball, goes past 4 lads, smashes it in the top corner from 20 yards. And they're like, whoa. Everyone's like, that lad is... Apart from Harry Gregg, who runs out with the goal, grabs him by his collar and starts strangling.
Harry Gregg's been through a lot.
Yeah, he's like, a goal goes past him. He's like...
Yeah.
He was probably in the war. Well, he's born just after it. It's not a great time to be alive.
No, but I mean, again, going through the Munich air disaster probably did a number on him.
Yeah, just that alone,
Yeah.
but also everything before.
Sure.
Yeah, but at this stage now, they're like, it's consistency is what he needs. He's got all the talent in the world. And Busby's even privately telling journalists, like Belfast journalists and that, like, keep it on the DL, but I think we have the greatest player in the world.
I think the sentence privately telling journalists should be like a massive red flag at this
But
stage.
see, because they're all hoping for the best for George, they're like, no, I've got a lad.
Yeah.
That's... Don't
Okay.
tell anyone. And they don't. They're just
Okay.
like, but they're like, but people openly say that, Busby was on about this lad. Even when he was in the youth team, George wouldn't have known, but he was telling people, if what we have on our hands, if he turns into half the player, we're back at the best.
Yeah.
The George Best. Again, he wouldn't have known that he was going to be this player or what they all thought about him. And neither did his dad, because he'd be over going, right, 17, you turn pro. You can get your money. You don't have to be an amateur anymore.
Yeah.
So they're waiting for he's constantly asking people, is he getting the contract?
Is he 17?
Yeah.
Is he? I don't know what day he's born. That's the mother's job. What? When is he 17?
But he's asking in the year leading up to it,
Yeah.
like, can I, because if he doesn't make the pro contract, I have to get him a job or figure out life for him and that. So could you just,
Yeah.
And they don't give him any inkling. So he's like, I'll get a job for him. And he goes and sorts him up with a job in like a printers.
Right.
17th birthday comes. Here comes the telegram. Pro contract. Could have told you ages ago.
It was on the day.
The dad has to go in and be like, sorry about that. You were thought you were getting that star who used to play for Man United.
Yeah.
Turns out he's still at Man United.
Well, that's
It's good.
good for them.
Yeah.
They
Just annoying
probably
for
have a little sign being like, who almost worked here?
Yeah, but I think the dad is just kind of annoyed because he's like, we don't have a whole lot of money. We're kind of worried about everything.
100%.
Like,
Yeah.
I won't tell him. I lied to him so many times already.
Yeah.
I'm the best person to tell. Tell me he's getting the contract.
Yeah.
I'll tell him they want rid of him. Like, that's fucking sports scientist.
Yeah.
But the dad gets an invite then to go over to the FA Cup final of '63.
Right.
And this is I think this is for the first trophy they win then post Munich air crash. Bobby Charlton,
Yeah.
star man there, I think captain. They win, I believe, 3-1. They're on but they get the train from Manchester down to London, and that's where Busby's telling Best, your son is. Honestly, we could have told you last year, probably. But so this has calmed him down a good bit. George also gets to go, and this is his first time seeing Wembley
Right.
in the flesh, and he's like, "Whoa, that's big." that's very good. But that's the end of obviously the last game of the season. So he'd go back to Belfast for the summer, where he'd pass his driving tests because no matter what he tried, he kept failing them in Manchester. He just goes to Belfast, and they're like, "Are you George Best?" Now, right, you're nowhere near tall enough to drive a car, but are you playing for Man United?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he goes.
I can't imagine how difficult it would be to get a driver's license in the 60s.
In the yeah, it's like, where's the wheel?
Yeah.
There you go. Off.
Close enough. Yeah.
So, but yeah, he goes back to Man United at this beginning of the next season, and now upgrade because he's up and down between the A and B team.
Yes.
And now they're like, he's been in the A team at the end of that season, doing very well. Comes back, reserve squad.
Reserves.
He'd been up and down, finished the season doing well at the A team.
Yeah.
Still, every so often goes to the B team, so he's kind of still like, surprise, I'm in the reserve squad now. It's a big deal. But he didn't realize that at the time they were already going, we could just try him in the senior team. The main concern was just that he was too small. And not in terms of like, he'll get bullied out of his, like, he could get injured properly.
Right.
These are grown men in a time when rules don't really exist.
Yeah.
And so they're like, just for his own benefit, give it a year or two and we could figure it out. So the reserves was where you'd have to cut your teeth. And so he'd go in there, play as his main position was inside forward.
Right.
But so not the striker, kind of behind the striker as an inside player, but closer to the box, but not a winger.
Right.
Even though a lot of the videos you'd see of George Best dribbling is like out on the wing, he didn't like it as much out there. He wanted to be in the middle. Everything's open to him then.
Okay.
But he's not an instant standout performer when he goes to the reserve team. So every so often he'll still be dropped back down to like the A team or the B team, and he'll just come up and down. But then there's a day, so he's playing consistently enough for the reserve team. Goes in to look at the team sheet that weekend. Not on the reserve team. He's like, my dad was right. I'm after ruining it. He looks at the A team. You're not on that. He's like, guys, B team.
Kicked all the way back down.
All the way back down. He doesn't know what to do.
No.
He looks over at the senior squad.
Yeah.
Back then, no subs.
Okay.
So just 11 lads in that team.
Yeah.
And he's not a 9. But there is one little thing beside it that says reserve. George Best.
So he's on the reserve of the senior team.
Yeah,
but
this
not
game.
the reserves.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So you're allowed to, they name a reserve to travel with the squad in case of injury or illness, whatever else.
You can't sub in during the game.
No.
But before the game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so he didn't know what was going on, but then when he saw the squad, he was like, all right, that's a bit weird. That's why am I? And then he's like, they bring you along for like experience, and he'll clean the boots. He'll do like the kit and all of that. So he's kind of annoyed. He's like, I'd rather be playing football. I could be starting for the reserve team or the A team, or even put me in the B team. Now I'm just not doing anything this weekend. And I'm just
he's
cleaning boots.
He's Christopher Moltisanti. He doesn't know the experience of fucking. You can't rush these things.
Exactly.
You got to be in there. You got to pay your dues.
Yeah. So he arrives at Old Trafford the morning of the game, and they're playing West Brom. And the groundsman Joe Royal walks up to him, congratulates him, wishes him good luck. Thinks I'm not playing. And then Joe Armstrong comes up to him, exact same thing.
Yeah.
Fair play to you. He's like, what?
All right. I guess the boots will be pretty clean.
Yeah. Hops onto the team bus. They go to a golf club for a pre-match meal. And Pat Crerand is the starter for the senior team. He sits beside him, and he's just like, look, George, I'm just telling you, don't fucking be shit. He's like, but he specifically says, like, don't overhit your crosses or your passes, just play your game. And he's like, what are you on about? Why are you talking? He's like, George, you're starting the game.
Yeah.
Do you know how everyone's telling you?
I'm starting to think he's not as smart as whatever the hell 3 O levels at the time was.
Yeah, but he's a child though. He's probably just turned 17 now at this stage. He's 17 at this stage. Yeah. So he's so he's starting. The guy called Ian Moore had been injured. So George is into the starting team up against famed hard man Graham Williams, the mad Welshman.
Okay. But sorry, just to go ahead of, I don't know, how does the system work? Because it's just like you got 11 players. If any of them in any position gets injured, you just bring in
they don't
George.
get injured.
Huh?
What?
No, but I mean,
yeah.
So, like, where did Ian Moore play? Like, if he was a back, and then all right, we'll just put George in.
I think he just played out on the wing as a
But like, what if one of the other that's just
they'd
stupid system.
They'd move the other lads around.
Yeah.
You know, it's very stupid.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't have substitutes.
It's okay.
But yeah, so that George, so he starts out on the wing against Graham Williams. And at first, I mean, everyone had heard about George. They picture all the youth teams all around Manchester, all through England, because you're like, right, this lad's tiny in class, but he's not doing it all the time. But like, everyone would know roughly of it. So even at the senior team, they've like heard about him because they're trying to keep him under wraps. But these things get around
by secretly telling the journalists. Yeah, we've got a wonder kid coming up, but keep that under your noses. I don't know. Is there any other news stories in Belfast? But you might need to drum something up in the 60s.
But Graham had said that at first. And he knew all about him. He'd heard about him.
Yeah.
He's like, but he's a kid. He's like, so he's pumped up. He's like, he's going to be good. He's real average.
Right.
So he says that at first, George isn't up to much. They're not even giving him the ball.
Right.
Because Bobby Charlton is out on the opposite side of the field. So the ball just keeps going over there. And Best is stuck on the right wing. And he's not getting a touch of the ball and doing nothing. They won't pass to him. So he's like, I don't have to be worried about this lad now. And then eventually George gets fed up with that. Drifts into midfield, goes and gets the ball himself, and just starts running by lads. Runs up to Williams, nutmegs him, and Williams is like, oh, and then just steps on his ankle.
Yeah.
And George is pretty injured now, so he finishes the game,
right?
But they instantly move him off that lad. After he does that to him, they're like, how about you go, you know what? there's another 17-year-old or 18-year-old over in the other wing. That's American Bobby Charlton. Maybe you go.
Right.
Maybe you go do that.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't do much for the rest of the game.
Right.
But he's okay. But Busby's impressed by the fact that he finished the game. Because they were worried about how strong, if he was man enough to play, he's too small, too slight.
If someone steps on his ankle, but he'd get back out there and do it again.
Yeah, and he just got stepped on by a senior player who's known to be filthy.
Right.
And now he had said that this, Graham Williams, he'd said this got blown out of proportion. He was like, it was one tackle. People said I booted him up and down the field the whole game long. I was a disgrace. They wouldn't even give him the ball. So I only had a chance to kick him the one.
His own team, they were the real villains.
And even Bobby Charlton said that he was like, I don't really remember Best's first game. It's not like at the time we were like, it was like Nirvana just released their album.
Yeah.
Everything changed.
Yeah.
He was like, he was probably good. He probably had some good moments, but like overall, no.
Yeah, some kid that...
Well, he was good. It was impressive for his age, but like that's whatever.
Yeah.
He was injured for the next game. Oh, I should say United won that game 1-0. But then, he's injured for the next game, so he's out for a while. He comes back then to the reserve team, but he's also dropping into the A team a bit. Probably for a few reasons. He was still growing up, so you don't have to rush him.
Yeah.
Playing whatever his game on. Just throw in that game. Doesn't matter what game it is. He's kind of either he's against lads his age or else he's against lads who are a little bit older. Just let him play football. Also, a lot of his friends were playing at that level because they weren't quite as good, so they weren't jumping up into the reserves and into the senior team.
Yeah.
So keep him grounded around lads he knows. Now, he was told at this stage he could also go home for Christmas time. But then he's thinking, well, I was playing for the senior team. Now I haven't been called up again. They're sending me home for Christmas when there's games on.
Yeah.
And I should just be playing. And he's like, it's not great now because he's dropping down through the things. It's 103 days between his first game and his second.
Right.
Which comes, I think, on the 27th of December. So he's at home for Christmas.
Oh, he does go home?
Yeah, he does go home. And he's like, everyone's asking, what's it like to play with the lads? What's it like to be over there? And he's like, I don't know. I'm not going to be there much longer. And then United go out and lose to Everton 4-1. A couple of days later, Burnley lose 6-1.
Okay.
And a telegram comes through saying, George, there's a plane there waiting for you. Get back to Manchester as soon as you can.
Yeah. I know young George Best, he's been keeping it temperate over Christmas. He's not been overindulgent in food. No drink. Probably match fit. Match ready.
His dad lines a little note under his bedroom door saying, they've let you go.
They let you go. No, my dreams. Only slagging, lad. Get up. The plane's outside.
So he goes, first time ever on an airplane.
How's he going back in ferries? The other times, okay.
It's Belfast to Liverpool to Manchester.
Yeah,
it's pretty quick.
Yeah. Man United obviously had an aversion to planes. Take the long way if you have to. No rush.
Yeah, so George boarded the Titanic instead. Boats, safe as houses.
Yeah. But Belfast
houses. That's what blew up the plane.
Belfast shipyards. I can't see any issues there.
Yeah. So, so he goes over and he...
Cars, the safest thing in Northern Ireland. I think we finally figured it out.
But so he goes back over and they're playing a return game against Burnley for some reason, very soon after they've just gotten hockeyed by them.
Right.
This time, George is starting, along with one of his mates, one of the younger lads from the team, Willie Anderson. He's going up against England international John Angus. And he absolutely minces him. George is meant to be phenomenal. He goes past him throughout the whole game. He scores the third goal. George says it was, the ball came across the box. I went through someone, smashed it in the top corner. Newspaper reports say it was an open goal tap in from 6 yards. Who do you believe? Who do you believe?
The press is out against him, all right?
But from that moment onwards, football would never be the same.
Okay.
George was in the senior team.
Nice.
And we will finish up this episode here.
Yeah.
And then we'll take the next one, probably from the rest of this season, all the way through until the next episode I might call Here Come the Good Times.
Yeah.
And then the next one is probably, here comes the bad times.
Nope,
and then here comes the worst times.
Yeah.
And oh God, I didn't think it could get worse.
Those bad times don't look so bad now.
But yeah, so that's the end of this section. That's the Munich air crash. That's what Man United were all up to. That's how the club was being run. This is the George Best, obviously at this stage, the fans are like, we've got another Duncan Edwards, we've got a child star, it's all happening. He's in the senior squad for the rest of that season, and we'll go through a bit of that then. But any notes on George Best?
No, that's it's funny to hear that he was so shy as a young boy. But yeah, but no, that's good. Fair play to him. Excited to see what he does at Man United in the 60s.
Yeah. Not so much anything else.
Yeah, no.
But yeah,
great.
We will see you here next week. Same best time, same best channel.
Yeah. Good luck.
Shafter.
This show is part of the Head Stuff Podcast Network, a hub for the creative and the curious. Shows are produced in association with Head Stuff and the Podcast Studios Dublin. Find out more or become a member at headstuffpodcasts.com.